Hello, everyone. Today is Tuesday, December the 23rd.
I'm Bruce Turner in Lynchburg, Virginia.
I'm George Dasher with my cat in Jacksonville, Florida.
Hey, everyone. I'm Duke Carico, and on this edition of Tech and Coffee's Android Journal, Samsung has started producing 4-giggers. ASUS and Kodak are bringing new phones to CES, and I'll ask the panel, was 2014 the year of the Chromebook? All this, our apps, and more. Good evening and happy holidays, panel.
Good evening. Hey, I have a question for George. I mean, I want to know, what did his cat think when they Google released Android Kit Kat? Was he impressed?
Hey, cat. It's like just looking the other way, wagging his tail. He was meowing at the storm a second ago before we went on air. Now he knows we're live, so he's looking.
Hey, George, look what my daughter subscribed me to, George.
Holy schmolians.
Yeah, it's a Raspberry Pi magazine. So it comes out 6 times a year, but I'm really, really excited. But I haven't gotten into it. It just came today.
Yeah, that's very cool, Bruce. Very cool. And I guess that was like a subscription, you know, like a Christmas present type thing, correct?
Absolutely. It was a Christmas gift.
What a great gift. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. So, yeah, I've still got a present I got to go pick up tomorrow. Other than that, I have a little wrapping to do, but I think we're about ready here. I had some Kids Believe letters show up this week, and one of the actually 2 of the granddaughters opened them today. We still got one to be unveiled, but she couldn't believe that she was 139th on the nice list. Just tickled her to death, man. Yeah, okay. Hey, guys, let's talk a little tech news, and actually we're starting to get a little bit. Let's start with the Samsung announcement. First of all, Samsung has started mass producing 4-gigabyte RAM for mobile devices. And basically, I think what this means is manufacturers are going to have access to this RAM in early 2015, so more than likely any flagship coming from, you know, LG, anybody, any flagship phone is probably going to be running this RAM. This stuff is it's here. Let's see. Let me tell you a little bit about it. It's the first 8 gigabit low power double data rate for mobile DRAM, sporting an I/O rate of 3,200 megabits per second, which is 2 times faster than typical DDR3 RAM that's currently used in PCs. It's going to save up to 40% power compared to similar 4 gigabyte packages. So yeah, man, this sounds like some serious RAM for our mobile devices. Would you not agree, Bruce?
Yeah, I do, and it looks like Samsung's ahead of the curve in producing this. You know, they've rubbed the crystal ball, and they know that really, like you said, flagship phones are going to need more RAM, and so they're going to be ready.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to see a step up in processors too. Yeah, man, it sounds like phones coming down the pike or spec-wise are going to be monsters. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. George, you got anything you want to throw in here?
Yeah, I'm just hoping. Samsung does manufacture most components for other phones and other manufacturers too, so you know that's going to appear in almost everything out there too that Samsung can provide for. I'm waiting to see, because if Samsung produces it, you know somebody else isn't far behind of making their own variant of it as well. So.
Absolutely, yeah, man. So, way to go, Samsung. A lot of us knock Samsung, but if you look, they make a lot of chipsets that go in devices, including iPhones, displays. They make a lot of displays. RAM, so they've kind of got a leg up a lot of times when they go to putting their own phones together. But yeah, man, I'm pretty excited about this 4 gigabyte stuff here, mass production. Hey guys, I'm gonna move on here. We're starting to see these CES leaks, and ASUS has they've got their new Zen phone, and when I first saw this, I got pretty excited. But then I saw the FCC dock on the Bluetooth, and this doesn't sound like it's gonna be much of a phone if you look at the specs. Let's see here. We got a 4.5-inch HD, which is a 480 by 854 display, dual core processor, 2100 milliamp hour battery, uh, 5 and 3 megapixel cameras. Not much, guys. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, this is probably one of those devices, even though it's going to be unveiled at CES, unless they have a way to market it, this is going to be a midline phone that nobody never really knows about. Do you not agree, Bruce?
I think so. I was really surprised. I mean, I've not looked much at ASUS in the phone business. Of course, they compare this a lot to the HTC One M8 and the LG 3. But yeah, it seems to be a little weak on power stats.
So George, you got a couple of phones there, and I know you like to buy your phones out of contract. Would you consider a phone such as this? I mean, hey man, I kind of like Asus stuff myself. I found it
like
reliable.
I was looking at the Asus phone too, but even before this, believe it or not, Lenovo has a bunch of phones out there too that almost nobody's really picking up here in the States. But you can see them like in the EU or overseas somewhere else. So I've been looking at some really off the wall phones. I mean, like the one phone I'm using right now, besides my Blue, is I still have the Xperia, and this is a world phone. This is not even meant for the U.S. market. So it's just if it does do dual SIM, I would definitely be all over it. I don't believe the Asus does, but most of my phones are dual SIM, and that's what I kind of prefer because I can switch back and forth between US and UK numbers and stuff.
Yeah, we haven't done our prediction show yet, but I'll kind of give you guys a little hint. This is one of my predictions. A lot of our phones now are coming out of China, but we're starting to see a rise of a lot of these Chinese, Meizu, OnePlus, Huawei, and I think we're going to see a proliferation of those in 2015, and they're going to be pretty appealing to us Americans because we're going to be able to buy really high-spec phones for around a $300 price point, and we'll be comparing those to a lot of these Samsungs and HTCs that out of contract are hitting about $700-800.
Well, there's a huge market in India too. I mean, there's all these phones, companies I've never even heard of, besides some of these, off-market Chinese phones as well. There's a huge Indian market. I keep seeing a bunch of posts in my Google Plus stream for all these different phones from India. That I mean, some of them look like really nice phones, like with like leather cases and stuff. I mean. So I don't think it's going to be long before you see probably one or two Indian branded phones on the market here. I mean, it may not be from a main distributor like Verizon or AT&T. It might be on, I don't know, Simple Mobile or something. But I think you're probably going to see some sort of high-end Indian or Chinese phone off-market stuff showing up because it's going to be equal to, say, like a Samsung or an LG, but it's going to be some weird brand you've never heard of, and you can get it for about a third of the cost.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'll tell you what, man. I'm going to move on. Another phone that we're expecting to be unveiled at CES comes from. It's a very well-known name, but it's not necessarily a well-known name with phones. George, I know you're a camera buff. I know back there behind you, you got several older cameras on the shelf back there.
And I got tons more boxed away.
Do you have any old Kodak cameras?
Oh, I do. I have. In fact, I took one to the UK with me. I have a Pony. I took, which I took film and photograph stuff. An old 1953 Kodak Pony. But here, I got one for you. This one's from the 20s. You'd like this one.
Oh yeah, you know what? My grandfather had that camera, the Brownie. Yeah.
There's a solid one there, and then I've got some folding Kodak cameras that are over 100 years old. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kodak means a whole lot to me. I worked for Kodak, Eastman Kodak, worked for them for about 17 years, and I'm just telling you right now, I never dreamed that what would happen to Kodak happened to Kodak. And you know, they were doing a lot of film, and you know, film took a lot of chemicals, but you know, the digital age didn't necessarily pass Kodak by. Kodak was the leader in a lot of the digital imaging early on, and chose, rather than to really participate in the game, just to kind of license their patents on a lot of their digital imaging. And anyway, long story short, you know, digital imaging took over, and Kodak kind of got left out in the cold. Now they have announced that next month at CES, they're actually bringing, throughout the 2015, they're going to bring more than just a phone. But it has leaked out that they're going to be unveiling a phone at CES. This is going to be a flagship phone, and we're going to see other phones and tablets from Kodak throughout the year. Now, what's going to differentiate Kodak? Well, they're going to put some of this camera stuff that they've been so good at over the years to use. And listen, guys, I think at the end of 2015, this is going to be a failed product, but I really do have my fingers crossed that Kodak is really going to advance the camera side of Android. Bruce, jump in here and give me your thoughts.
Well, as you know, I've never really been a fan of the people trying to come out with these fancy camera focused smartphones. You know, Nokia, Sony, and different ones like that. I'm quite happy with the camera that I have on my Samsung Galaxy Alpha that I had on my Note 2. Of course, you know, a lot of people, when they start talking about smartphones, they talk about what's the battery life, and they talk about what's the camera like. So I would say if Kodak can come up with, you know, with a decent piece of hardware, and they can really kind of, you know, wow us with a really great camera that exceeds, you know, like let's say an iPhone 6 camera or something else like that, with, you know, different features and everything, then I think it may have a chance. But I've never been a big fan of smartphones trying to become more camera centric. Again, I've been very satisfied for the kind of pictures that I take with the phones that have the cameras that have come on the phones that I already have.
Fair enough.
But I'm like you. I have a lot of friends who are from Rochester, New York, and who worked, you know, for Kodak, and I wish them the best. I hope that you know, maybe they can come up with some kind of breakthrough camera technology that'll make them really stand apart.
Well, you know, I think they've got some opportunity, you know, with Android came support for RAW format. And I've yet to play there with my Nexus. I came real close. Somebody in Tech and Coffee that I think a whole lot of sent me some Google Play dollars, and sent me $10, and I'm really thinking about using that Play card and purchasing some of this raw camera software just to kind of experience it. But I did, when I learned this article this morning, I came across this, and just thinking about it, you know, maybe Kodak can utilize that side of that camera software to really make something outstanding. I'm hoping, but I don't expect that.
I hope so too. I mean, one of the things I'm going to tell you though, there's outside of, and I think smart cameras are definitely part of the future for camera enthusiasts. Okay, but one thing that Kodak still does is film, actual film. They don't do Kodachrome anymore, which is a bummer. But there is a movement out there, and it's actually quite huge if you ask me, for classic cameras. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of companies now manufacturing 35 millimeter and just basically film cameras for people out there, and kits. You can build your own camera, so there's a lot of companies. There's newer companies out there making film. I mean, literally just making film, and it's kind of a classic old trick. And here you go. This camera's traveled with me overseas and stuff. So I think Kodak still has to look at the past, yeah, but also look at the future as well, because I hope it works out for them, but
Yeah, well, let's keep our eye on it. I'm sure that in the, I don't know, give me about a month from now, we'll probably be talking about this camera again, because CES will be here, and it'll give us a chance to, we'll know more about it. So, but yeah, I'm going to keep my eye on this one. Just like I say, I've got some history with the company, and boy, I'd love to see them do something right. Hey guys, we're especially tonight, the panel that I've got before me tonight, we're all fairly large fans of the Chromebook. And Bruce, I know you and we started out with the Samsung Series 3 Chromebook. We both moved on to Intel-based processors, and we love our Chromebook. But if we just look back over 2014, I mean, just look at who all got involved. You got HP, Lenovo, ASUS, and Samsung were already playing here in the market. We've got Acer, Dell, yeah. Toshiba. I could go on. Okay, I mean, man, this Chromebook market has exploded, and I guess what's 2015 going to be like, Bruce? Are we going to see Chromebooks kind of level out and die down, or is this market going to continue to grow for Google and Chrome?
I think the market's going to continue to grow. I don't think there's any question about that. And by the way, I just want to thank George for sending me all the lovely stickers that adorn my Chromebook. George, I appreciate that. But no, I like the fact, I don't remember that there was this amount of buy-in by all these manufacturers back in the netbook fad. I don't recall that. I may be wrong. I can think of maybe, 3, something like that. But this has really been huge. And I think as more people, as the cloud begins to grow even more, and you got companies like Adobe Photoshop putting out their product available online, as people begin to see the value of the Chromebook, dollar for dollar for what the great majority of people do, I think they're only going to get more popular. And we're seeing a lot of diversity in the market there as far as screen size, 11.6, 13, 14, Intel processors, Broadwell, Haswell, NVIDIA, 2 gig of RAM, 4 gig of RAM. And now you're going to talk later about somebody else coming out on the touchscreen Chromebook market, and I was really surprised. I had the C720, but the C720p was very popular. My granddaughter in Florida, she's got a C720. When she saw a C720p, she said, "Poppy, I got to have that one. I like that touchscreen." So I think they're only going to continue to get more popular. They've got great utilitarian value. They're going to continue to make great inroads in the educational market. I believe as well. So there's only one way for Chrome OS, and that's up.
Okay, well, just let me kind of recap 2014 here. First of all, I just mentioned all the hardware manufacturers that got on board, and just some of the criticisms that we used to have. Well, it can't run Photoshop. Well, that's true, but Photoshop has announced that they're working on a cloud-based Photoshop to where you're going to be able to. In fact, they're doing some testing on that right now. We expect to see that, sometime in 2015. We got more offline support than ever. Now, I'm just going to tell you, I would love to see this improved. But, man, I'll tell you what's the truth. If you want to, like create a file and save it to Drive, and then when you do have access, you get synced, you can email. There's many things that you can do offline. That's improved. Right now, there's a way to sideload Skype, but yes, Microsoft is supporting Skype on a Chromebook. We can expect that very soon, along with many other Android-based apps. Okay, you mentioned the education market. It's just they've taken off just because of the affordability of Chromebooks. The feedback coming out of the schools on the use of the Chromebooks has been very positive. And let's just talk about Microsoft for a second. They started out ignoring them. Then they tried to make fun of them, rather than try to compete. They basically hired a marketing firm to make Screwgold commercials. And now, in 2014, what happened is they said, hey, this is a real threat to our low end. So they started working with HP to come up with a $200 Windows-based stream. Now, most of the reviews on this have been pretty favorable for the money. And so in the end, we all win because it's something more affordable. But, yeah, George, what do you think, man? 2015, you feel the need to upgrade that Samsung Series 3 Chromebook yet?
I'm thinking I will upgrade it. Here's the problem, though, and thank you, Douglas Clements, for sending me this sticker that I have up here with all the rest. But I figured I'd give him a shout-out as well. But I think one of the things that I'm seeing that it's kind of freaky. I was in a store the other day, a tech store, and I was looking at all the different tablets they have out. And see, most of the tablets you pick up are usually Android. They'll have like the iOS stuff somewhere else, but so I'm picking up all these tablets and I'm looking at them, and then I saw this HP tablet and I picked it up, and all of a sudden a Windows menu came up and I almost dropped it. Because I'm like, where did this come from? and the scary thing is, it wasn't expensive at all. It was about, I think, $90 or $100 or something like that. So you got major companies pushing out Windows-based tablets as well now, as well as Windows-based small Chromebook style, we'll say, cloud-based Windows stuff. That's getting pushed out there more and more. I'm seeing more Android and more Chrome OS stuff than I am seeing Windows-based, but it's starting to trickle into the market. So I think Microsoft might actually pull some stuff in there. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. Competition is always good. It's not like I'd buy them, but I do have some Microsoft stocks, so for all you Microsoft drones out there, feel free to buy as much as possible.
Okay. Listen, Douglas Clement has said he thinks it will grow, but I think price does matter. Don't price themselves out on the market unless they can become a replacement device. In other words, use it for all functions. May happen, but not there yet, I don't think. Skype app is happening next year. All right, and listen, Bruce and George did it, Doug. So, yeah, George is responsible for several of these. But, hey, Doug, right here's, wait a minute. Right,
I see two of them.
Is one of yours. Right here is one of yours. So, George and Doug, thank you so much for the stickers, man. Yeah, absolutely.
I like all your safe worker stuff.
Yeah.
Just don't ever drop that because you might have to peel all those stickers off.
Hey, okay. Hey, listen, and on Doug's point, HP, without any fanfare whatsoever, has rolled out a touchscreen 14-inch Chromebook. Uh, a nice looking Chromebook according to the pictures. And like I say, I want to stress this is touchscreen. It's running a 2.3 gigahertz quad core NVIDIA Tegra K1 CPU, 4 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of flash storage. This thing is going to hit the market right around $430 to $440. And to Doug's point, Bruce, would you spend $440 on a touchscreen Chromebook?
No, I wouldn't, and the primary reason is, I've got a desktop that I really like. It's running good. I work for a company that provides me with a nice Windows laptop. They're fixing to upgrade me to a brand new Dell Latitude next month. So I just, I like the small size. I like the low price. It's easy for me to replace it if I need to. It travels good. I mean, the 14-inch, Chromebook that you're talking about looks really nice. Got 1920 by 1080 resolution, and but if so I would say maybe if I didn't have a Windows laptop that's provided for me, and I wanted a laptop, a little better quality laptop, then I might consider it. But in my particular situation right now, I think $300 the max I would ever pay for a Chromebook for what I need it to do.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. I've got the i3, and I paid considerably more than that. I do not regret it now that I have it. But
Mm-hmm.
really, before I did it, I had a hard time justifying that price. Was it really worth going, with that extra processor, 4 gigs of RAM, 32 gig SSD? I think that, a large part of the appeal of the Chromebook has been that it's inexpensive, and it does. There are some advantages over a Windows machine. Antivirus being one of them, but there's still a whole lot of things that Windows does a little easier than a Chromebook can do, especially when you're working locally. And I'll just be honest with you. I think if I was going to spend $440 for a Chromebook, the first thing I would do would be to shop comparable Windows machines. It doesn't mean that that's where I'm going to go, but jump in here, George. What do you think, man? 440 for a Chromebook?
I don't know. I think the last time, just before, because I wasn't before you gave me the Chromebook, I really wasn't looking at Chromebooks per se, and so I ended up buying an F102 ASUS touchscreen laptop at a reasonably decent price, and then I wiped Windows completely off of it and put Linux Mint on it, which works really well with a touchscreen. And that cost about as much as what a decent Chromebook would have cost at that price range. And the one thing I get out of it is more RAM. I mean, it's not really cloud-based, but I can throw. I've got I think 350 gig storage on it, so I could throw a bunch of files or whatever I need on there. I can throw like some music. I mean, I know some of the newer Chromebooks give you better options now, and I know this one does definitely have the ability to put external storage on. So I think for me, because I still haven't hacked my Chromebook like you guys by sideloading Linux and stuff on it. So I mean, even though it is kind of Linux, I've been using it kind of more native. I mean, I've been finding hacks. I mean, just the other day, I mean, you're going to probably laugh at this, but just like 2 or 3 days ago, I figured out how to bring up the shell. I hadn't had to do that before because I just wasn't doing much. So I had to go play with ALSA because I had a sound issue. And I'm like, how the heck do you get the shell? I mean, I know what to do when I'm in there, but like, because it's so user-friendly as far as just the basics, there's no need for me to do it like if it was a native Linux box and go do something. So I haven't had need to go outside of the little Chrome, biosphere, so to speak. Where in Linux, I do it all the time, where I'm just breaking and fixing things.
You
So
know, you brought up an interesting point. And Bruce and I have we played here a little bit with the Ubuntu and the Crouton installs. Bruce, do you use? I know once upon a time you and I were both pretty much booting into the Ubuntu Crouton install and doing everything from there. Do you still do that, or are you like myself and find yourself doing it less and less?
Oh, I've done it less and less until the fact that I've just gone back to stock Chrome OS. I don't have Crouton or any kind of a dual boot Linux option running on my Chromebook right now, and it's working fine. I'm currently running the beta version. I think you're running the developer version. But no, it's and with some of the new things that Chrome OS is doing, and I feel like, I mean, there were some things that like I would do Skype and everything, and I know that Skype is going to come out on the Chromebook, but so I'm just purely Chrome OS right now, and I do use Chrome Remote Desktop to remote it into my Windows machine. But I only do it for two reasons. One is Microsoft Link, which we use in our company, and the other is to look at the Cisco information. We run Cisco Supervisor Desktop, Cisco Agent Desktop, and so I remote in so that I can see that and make some changes that I need to do there. But there's going to be some great Chromebook, Chromebox options for virtual machines coming out this year. That's another thing that's going to make 2015 a big year for Chrome OS. You watch.
Okay. One more thing. Again, staying on the point that Douglas Clement made. Uh, why do you think, Bruce, that Chromebooks have been? Why have they taken off? I mean, I just named all of these reasons. A lot of stuff that's happened. But why do you think? I mean, if you could give me one reason why Chromebooks have been appealing to a lot of people this year, what would it be?
Well, I have to sneak out two reasons. And it just occurs to me. I'll call them the two P's: price and practical or practicality. I think those are the two big reasons why they've taken off.
Okay, George, you got anything there to add to that?
yeah, actually, I kind of do. What I was thinking of is Chromebook has made me unnerdy. It's kind of weird because like Linux, native Linux, I'm hacking it like crazy. I'm doing stuff, opening shell, doing stuff like I've done for years. It's like the reverse with Chromebook. I'm just basically not really looking for hacks. I'm just utilizing the apps. So I'm being like a user where almost everything else, I mean, in my job for Windows, I'm always breaking Windows. At home, I'm always doing stuff in Linux and playing with stuff and hacking it. I haven't done diddly in Chrome. I mean, with the exception when I need to. Then I have to research and figure out how to do certain things. So I've been using it like a user, which is scary because it's so unnerdy of me not not to try to break the Chromebook. So, but I mean, out of box, I think it's perfect for almost anyone because it just works. So.
I I I know where you're coming from, Bruce. I think the Chromebook has been appealing because it does a whole lot of stuff for a very, very low price point.
Yep.
It might not do it all, but it does a whole lot of stuff for a very low price point. And I kind of agree with I think what Doug was saying. I think once you start adding a whole lot of features and the price starts creeping up towards that $400 to $500 price point, Chrome OS quickly loses its appeal.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Chromebook is competing against tablets as well, which I find kind of interesting. Considering that Google has Android tablets and everything. But I'll tell you what, if you buy an iPad or something else, you got to get a Bluetooth keyboard, case combo with it. It's more costly, and the Chromebook is just very inexpensive, half the price of an iPad easily, and you're good to go. And especially if you're hanging out in a coffee house, something like that, you know, it's great to be able to have a decent sized keyboard to compose emails and documents on.
Yeah, I'll tell you, just on that note, I'll tell you something I think is really insulting. I know that Microsoft Surface Tablet is more of a competitor to the iPad Air than it is to a tablet. But I mean, go figure. A lot of these Surface Pro 3s, you know, they're hitting between $1,000 and $2,000. But yet they don't even come with a keyboard. That's another extra that you have to purchase for it. I just think that's such an insult. I mean, that a keypad ought to come standard with those things. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I am seeing more Surface Pro 3s out in the wild. I've seen a couple guys in the local coffee house that I frequent, and so I'm starting to see more of them. And people have them. Everybody I've talked to, and I talk to them when I see one. You know, I ask them, is that a Surface Pro 2 or is that a Surface Pro 3? Every single one of them like them. Now maybe they like them because they have to like them because they got so much invested in it. You know, that's that where your treasure is, there where your heart be also principle.
Yeah, and Doug Clement commented here, long battery life and very intuitive and cheap is why he thinks Chromebooks, yeah, are doing well.
Douglas, I'm going to have to correct you on the word cheap. Inexpensive. Cheap implies bad quality. Sorry.
You know, I'm glad he mentioned the battery life because that is huge.
Oh yeah, I mean, I leave this thing on for days. I don't think I've charged it. It's been in my case for days, and it still has like most of the battery left. But I mean, on the other side too. I mean, I still have my Nexus. Sorry, dude. And it's running 5 or 5.1 or what. I don't even know it's running 5 or something. And it's still doing a good job. It's still chugging away. I mean, I'm still using it. Bought a new battery for it. I mean, it works like a charm. It does have some issues now where, I don't know, maybe the book is going or whatever, but sometimes when you open and close, well, it just worked there, but it doesn't turn on like it used to. So it's showing its age. It is slowed down with the newer OSs, so you kind of have to keep, like, you know, setting it back to factory and coming back and praying it still works right. but it's still chugging away, and it's still. With my Chromebook, this is usually sitting in a side pocket because half the time I'll be sitting in a coffee shop and I'll be reading news articles on this because it's so much easier.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
Sorry, man.
For anybody that doesn't know, my Nexus 7 just totally died on me. Yeah. All right. Hey, listen, man. Who the heck are we? We are Tech and Coffee, man, and if you want to learn about us, head over to techandcoffee.info, and you kind of learn a little bit about who we are, what we're about. We met in a Google Hangout back in 2011. All got to just becoming regulars, coming back daily, talking tech. So we want to invite you. If you'll go to techandcoffee.info, where you see that coffee cup, click on that link, will take you directly in to our main room daily hangout. And just bring your beverage. Come on, we'd love to meet you. Cameras are not required. Just come on and check us out. We've got a Twitter and a Facebook, Tech and Coffee 1. You can find us on YouTube at Tech and Coffee. Hey, search for us on Google+, our favorite social network. Search Tech and Coffee. Look for that TNC logo. Catch our podcast on Stitcher Radio and iTunes. And as always, gang, questions, comments, and snide remarks, send them to aj@techandcoffee.info. And Stitcher Radio listeners, we thank you very much. Believe me, we've seen the growth, we noticed the growth, and thank you guys. We appreciate it very, very much. All right, man, let's talk about some apps this week. Bruce, you got an app for me?
I do have an app. So many people will recognize the little device that I'm holding up. This is from Square. PayPal came out with theirs. I think there's one other company that has one. But this allows you can plug it into your phone, and you can take credit card payments. And so the gal who cuts my hair, she's got an iPhone 5. She's got the Square thing sticking out there. Hand her my debit card. Well, I've been handed my debit card recently, and that's going to lead me to my app of the week. So I'm going to first show you. This is called Square Order. Now there's a little story that goes along with that. Square had an app called Wallet, and you could add vendors to it. And there are a lot of vendors in my area in Lynchburg, Virginia, that use Square. Like I said, my hairdresser does. There's a little restaurant close by called Spot. Most of the coffee houses, several other businesses use Square. And with Wallet, when I would drive past the Muse Coffee Company and get within Wi-Fi range, it knew that I loved that. That's my favorite coffee house, and it would open up a tab even as I was driving by if I didn't stop. And it was really easy. You know, I would just say charge to Blue Ridge Technical Consulting, and that's a little entity I set up. And when I would walk in the shop or drive by, they'd see my face would pop up on their little iPad there. And now they've got this, you know, Square's come out with some really nice hardware now that has iPads built in, but really nice white frames, very artistically designed. With the credit card swiper on the front and everything, a little swivel where they can turn it around, very easy for people to sign. But they did away with Wallet, and that's how I used to pay for my haircut. I mean, she would see me, she would know that I was there, and I was able to add the tip. And then they did away with Wallet, and I found out quite by mistake when I went there, and I couldn't find her, and then I realized that Square had removed it. Well, they have since now added a brand new app that replaces Square Wallet, and it's called Square Order. Square Order, and this is a really, really smart device. So, like right now, if I turn mine on, it knows that the closest place by me right now is this little restaurant called the Spot. I'd say the Spot is maybe a quarter of a mile from me, and there's a little blue button on there where I can just open up a tab. In fact, I opened up a tab just to make sure that it worked, and then of course I canceled it. But so you can. This is what the app looks like on the Google Play site, and there's even it will even have the option to see a full menu, so you can order something before you actually even get there, and they will prepare it. And then when you get there, it's all ready to go. So it's a great app. Now let me just share with you from their site some of the things that they talk about. This is in the description here, and I'm going to go ahead and highlight this because it might make it a little bit easier to see. So you can browse items on the home screen or view full menus. You can place your order at any time. Geolocation helps Square Order know where you are, so that if you're close to nearby businesses, you can start your order. You get a notification that your order is started. You can stop by and say hello, pick up the order. No need to wait in line to pay. And then you can easily have this feature to get the usual. I mean, if there's certain thing, you know, if it knows that I want the bottomless dark Sumatra and a BLT, it'll say, do you want your usual, you know, and so that's really nice. You swipe to browse personalized recommendations from places that you love, and anyway, it's just really great. I was an avid user of Square Wallet. Disappointed when it went away, but now I'm really, really happy that Square has replaced it with Square Order. So that's my app of the week. If you got Square businesses in your area, give it a try.
Square Order, very good. And Bruce, Google Wallet will be accepted at Disney World effective tomorrow.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes, and let's face it, we really do have iOS to thank for that.
Yep. Hello, folks. It's Google Wallet.
Okay, man. What do you got for us, George?
Well, my app of the week, it goes with a review I did earlier this week on Google Plus, basically with a Fire Stick TV, which I got and I reviewed. And I'm more of a Roku fan, but you know, for $20 I was willing to try it and play with it. But the one thing for people who have it, and it's actually a really nice device, especially if you have Prime, but you can use other apps on it too, is the Fire TV app. Because with the app, instead of paying the extra for the remote, you actually can speak into this and do commands. And one of the really cool things is this huge open space here. acts as you're moving back and forth, and you can't see it because I actually have the Fire Stick on my office TV, which is an overhead TV. I'm moving stuff around on the Fire TV right now by just moving back and forth and doing stuff. It's got some pretty decent options. I'm actually trying to figure out, there was a demo here, and I can't figure out how to get the demo to come back up, but it basically shows you can drag stuff up, you can talk into it, and it's a free app. I don't know if it's on the Play Store, but I know it's on the Amazon store, of course, because it's part of the Fire Stick. But it's a pretty decent app. It makes a really good addition for the Fire device if anybody's ordered one. And that's actually probably something, I don't know if you brought it up in a previous show or not, but I mean, Fire OS is a fork of Android in essence, and so a lot of your Android apps that you have in on the Amazon store will appear. The ones that will function on the Fire OS side or on the stick side will appear. So as an example, Plex, my Plex app appeared in there. I will tell you though, Plex plays a heck of a lot better on a Roku device than it does on the Fire Stick device. But it's functional and it's playable. For those of you who got it, I think the Fire Stick's a pretty decent device for the price. In essence, what are they, $39 now? So for an extra $10, I'm going to tell you to get a Roku stick over a Fire Stick. So I'm just saying it's a much better device. It's much cleaner and it's much more, I think, polished than.
But now you can't sideload apps on a Roku, though, right? Have you tried sideloading anything on the Fire Stick?
Actually, you can kind of. What I use is I actually have the Plex app for Roku, and I think it sucks butt. So I ended up getting one called Rarflix. You can't go to the store and get it, but there's a developer site that you can. That's part of Roku, but you can't get it out of the normal store. But you can get the Rarflix app if you search for it in Google, and it comes up as one of the Plex developer apps, and you can go and test it for free. And I think it's a far superior app than the actual Plex app that's out there. And it sees my servers, and I can see media on it. So I think it's way better than the $5 Plex app for Roku, and it's free. So.
All right, man. So that's the Amazon Fire app, correct?
That's the Amazon Fire app. And by the way, you can't really sideload on Fire. You have to actually root the device, and there's some weird, strange way to root it. And it's just become heckish. So I don't even think I'd root the Fire device either. I'd probably end up bricking it.
I just find it interesting that Robert Taylor last week said that he thought that the Amazon Fire Stick was one of the best streaming devices out there for the money, but I'm not hearing you sing the same praises as Robert.
No, in my office here, I have both. I have the Plex, I have the Roku stick, and I have the Fire Stick. I hooked up the Fire Stick. One of my bad parts of the review is that the Fire Stick takes about 10 or 20 minutes to do updates as soon as you plug it in, so there's no quick out-of-box stuff. If you don't, I guess, check it as a present, it'll come preloaded with your account, including password. So if you were sending it to somebody and you didn't check that box and you had it sent to you, then in essence you probably gave them access to your account. But if you're using it for Prime, it's perfect because it's 100% a Prime-looking app. You have to kind of scroll down, find your apps, go into this stuff. The App Store isn't user-friendly at all to find stuff. Video is kind of choppy outside of certain apps. I mean, I don't have Netflix, so I can't check that. But on Plex, it's kind of choppy. On Crackle, I mean, Roku is still has got the Fire Stick beat. I mean, it's not bad for the price. For $20 when it was on a deal, it'd probably make an excellent, like if I just threw it in another room, a guest room or something like that, and somebody just wanted to watch media, it's perfect. I still think Roku kicks its butt. But that's just
Fair enough. All right, man. I'll tell you what, my app is an app that I have talked about before. I know that Bruce uses this app, and it recently got a material design update. So this is Plume. It's Plume. This is the paid version, which doesn't have advertising. And basically, this app is it's a pretty slick Twitter app. And I know that you probably can't read the what's up here on the screen, but this is my mentions column, and here's my direct messages column, and it's really easy. Here, this is what's loading in here is a list of local tweets. A guy that I know put this list together of people who use Twitter locally, and it's great to follow with. I think it's a very solid, well-built app. Seems to be put together. Here lately, I've been following a lot of what people have been saying about Al Sharpton, North Korea, and if you're looking for a good, solid Twitter app, one that seems to move beyond Twitter's own app, please check out Plume. I think you'll be very pleased with it. If you use TweetDeck on your computer, TweetDeck and Plume have a whole lot in common as to how they function. The only difference is with Plume, you're only going to be dealing with one column at a time. Obviously, on your desktop, you can continue adding columns with TweetDeck. But absolutely, that is my app for this week, and that is Plume. You can find it in the Play Store. There is a free version and a paid version. So, hey, Bruce, you got anything you want to leave us with before I call this episode 83?
Well, last week you were talking about the tech that you guys really like, and so this just came. In fact, the doorbell rang, and I'm not gonna unbox it, but here it is. This is the Jabra Wave. I'm looking forward to charging it up and pairing it to my Chromebook and my Samsung Galaxy Alpha phone. And I'm going to really enjoy this over the holidays.
Absolutely. Congratulations. I love that headset. Guys, if you do a lot of Google Hangouts while you're mobile, and I'm talking about, maybe going down the road in your vehicle, you need to check out that Jabra Wave. You can't beat it for the money. Yep. Hey, George, you got anything you'd like to leave us with here, man?
I do. I have some Bluetooth headsets, but I'm not really a fan. Sorry, Bruce. I still prefer wired. But you'll love this, Bruce. You'll love this. The other day, I love the Skull Candy Inks. I think they're the best headsets on the market for the price. Okay, and usually get for between $20 and $30, depending on where you go. But I walked into Office Max the other day, right? And they have them for $10. Now I have about 2 or 3 extras I bought in the past for like $20 each, but for $10 I had to pick up 2 extras. So these usually just go like a side pocket in case I blow out one of my Skull Candies. I rarely do. But
do those have the flat wire?
These are the flat wired ones. They were $10 each. $10.
I agree. That's an incredible buy.
The best.
Yeah.
I still have an older one I've had for about 5 years. I mean, still functions. I don't know why I buy extras, but when I see a good price on them, I just pick up 2 or 3 extras because I'm like, crap, I know I'm gonna lose this. I'm gonna like curse myself. And they are the best sounding headset on the market.
You know where I lost my last Skull Candy inked?
I think you
I
lost
was getting gas in Pigeon Forge, and I had I pulled them out of my ear and I laid them across my lap, and when I got out of the car to pump gas, they fell out, and I had no idea.
Oh.
And I didn't realize it till I was, an hour down the road.
Yeah, these are the flat wire ones. There's Skull Candy also, there's another company that they own that makes a clone of these, but they don't have the flat wire. And I have a couple pairs of those. And you can usually get those for about $10. So I usually use those when I'm doing my walks in the morning. But these, they are the best. And I figured, well, you know, Office Max last week had them on sale. I probably should have bought like 20 or 30 of them. But,
Yeah, my main thing with the Bluetooth is what I'm looking for, and what this offers really good is noise reduction. When I'm in that noisy coffee house,
yeah.
you know, because that wired headset, it picks up everything.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's really good for walking around and stuff, and I love it for my phone. I usually end up using it for one of the tablets or something. But yeah, I agree. It does pick up everything, but I always seem to have the worst battery life with anything Bluetooth.
Yeah.
And with wired, I just plug it in and I can go for hours.
Right.
I mean, granted, you got the cord, but with a flat cord, it's not going to get tangled. It never gets knotted. You're not sitting there for 2 hours trying to get all these little.
I'll never get another wired headset that doesn't have a flat cord.
Yeah, so.
They rock.
All right, guys. Hey, before sign off, want to wish everyone a very, very Merry Christmas. As far as I know, we will be back next Tuesday night. That's subject to change because, hey, it is a very hectic time of the year. But listen, we're closing out another year. We've been at this a while now, and thank you guys again. Thank you, Stitcher listeners. Man, thanks for supporting us. We enjoy doing this. We're not exactly feeding ourselves by doing it, and we appreciate your loyalty. So thank you, Stitcher listeners. Hey guys, y'all have a great one, and we will see you in 7. Peace out, guys.